In the bustling city of Lekki, Lagos, where tall buildings line the streets and cars zoom past in endless traffic, there stood a grand but lonely building, Golden Haven Senior Home. It was meant to be a place of peace and comfort for elderly people who had no family to care for them. But inside those walls, there was no peace. Instead, there was suffering caused by one person. Her name was Amanda. Amanda was one of the caregivers at Golden Haven, but she was not like the others. While the other workers smiled at the elderly and treated them with kindness, Amanda did the opposite. She had no patience, no kindness, and no heart for the job. Every morning, she would drag herself into the home with an angry look on her face, her high heels clicking loudly as she walked. If an elderly person needed help getting up, she would roll her eyes and sigh loudly. If they asked for food, she would give them half of what they were supposed to get and eat the rest herself. "Old people don't eat much anyway," she would say, stuffing bread into her mouth. The elderly residents feared her. They knew better than to complain because Amanda would make their lives even worse. She would turn off the fan on a hot afternoon just to punish them. She would pretend not to hear when they called for help. Sometimes, she even took the gift their family sent and kept them for herself. One evening, an elderly man named Mr. Benson sat in his wheelchair, watching Amanda. Mr. Benson was the oldest person in the home, wise and quiet. He had seen many things in life, and he knew that evil never went unpunished. "Amanda!" he called softly, his weak voice carrying across the room. Amanda frowned. "What is it now, old man?" she snapped. Mr. Benson looked into her eyes and said, "You think no one sees what you do, but the spirits of justice are always watching." Amanda laughed, a sharp, cruel sound. "Spirits? This is Lekki, not some village. Keep your superstitions to yourself, old man." Mr. Benson only shook his head. "A storm is coming, Amanda, and when it does, you will learn that no one is above justice." Amanda rolled her eyes and walked away. She didn't believe in karma, spirits, or any of that nonsense. As far as she was concerned, she was untouchable. That night, as she walked out of Golden Haven, heading home through the busy streets of Lekki, she had no idea that something was waiting for her in the darkness. Something that would teach her a lesson she would never forget. The streets of Lekki were alive with the usual evening buzz, cars honking, people hurrying home, and the distant sound of waves crashing against the shore. Amanda walked confidently, swinging her handbag, her heels clicking against the pavement. She had just finished another day at Golden Haven Senior Home, where she had yelled at an elderly woman for being too slow and secretly taken a carton of juice meant for the residents. She felt no guilt, no remorse. To her, life was simple. Take what you can and never care about anyone else. But something strange was happening. As she walked past a row of shops, she noticed a deep silence settle over the street. The usual chatter of market women and bus conductors seemed to fade. The street lights flickered. The wind carried a strange, humming sound, low at first, then rising, like a distant storm approaching. Amanda frowned and glanced around. Was it her imagination, or was something moving in the air? Then she felt it, a tiny buzz near her ear. She slapped at it, thinking it was a mosquito, but the buzzing grew louder. Another buzz, then another. She looked down at her arm. A single bee had landed on her wrist. Then another, and another. Amanda's breath caught in her throat. Where were they coming from? She turned sharply, trying to shake them off, but more and more bees appeared, their tiny bodies glistening under the streetlights. They swarmed around her, thick like smoke, their wings creating a terrifying hum. A sharp sting on her neck, then on her arm, then on her face. Amanda let out a scream and started running. "Help! Help, Emmy!" she shrieked, waving her hands wildly. But the bees were relentless. Pedestrians on the street jumped out of the way, afraid to get caught in the swarm. No one dared to come near her. Amanda ran, stumbling over her heels, her arms flailing as she tried to escape the furious army of bees. She dashed across the road, narrowly missing a speeding kidnapper, but the bees followed. She ran past food vendors, who gasped in horror. She ran past children playing by the roadside, who screamed and ran away. She ran past a taxi driver, who shook his head and muttered, "This is not an ordinary attack." The pain was unbearable. Amanda could feel the bees stinging every inch of her skin. Her face, her arms, her neck, nothing was spared. Her beautiful dress was now torn, and her expensive makeup was ruined with sweat and tears. She crashed into a street pole and collapsed onto the ground, trembling, gasping for air. Then, through the haze of pain and fear, she saw him, Mr. Benson. The elderly man stood across the road, his frail body steady, his eyes watching her. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't laughing. He was simply watching. Then, in a voice that was barely a whisper, carried by the wind, he said, "Justice has found you, Amanda." And just like that, the bees slowly began to disappear. They lifted off her skin, one by one, until all that remained was Amanda, her body covered in painful welts, her once proud posture reduced to a trembling mess on the cold pavement. For the first time in her life, Amanda felt true fear. Amanda lay on the cold pavement of Lecky's busy street, her body swollen and covered in red, painful welts. Her once proud, arrogant face was now drenched in sweat and tears, her dress torn, her wig barely hanging onto her head. The world around her moved in slow motion. People gathered from a distance, whispering among themselves. No one dared to come close. She gasped for air, her voice weak. Please, help me." A shadow fell over her. She lifted her swollen eyelids and saw Mr. Benson, the old man from Golden Haven, standing there. His frail hands rested on his walking stick, his eyes calm, but full of wisdom. "Amanda," he said softly, shaking his head, "you thought you could treat people badly and walk away untouched." Amanda whimpered, I didn't mean. I didn't know." Mr. Benson sighed. "You knew. You chose to ignore the suffering of those who could not fight back. You took what was not yours. You forgot that justice always comes, whether we are ready or not." Tears streamed down Amanda's face. The pain was unbearable, not just from the bee's stings, but from the weight of her own guilt. For the first time, she realized just how cruel she had been. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." Mr. Benson nodded. "Sorry is only the beginning. Change is a true apology." He turned away, leaving her lying on the pavement, surrounded by the stares of strangers. Amanda knew what she had to do. The next morning, despite her swollen face and aching body, Amanda dragged herself back to Golden Haven Senior Home. The moment she stepped through the doors, the elderly residents gasped. Some looked away, still afraid of her. Others whispered among themselves, wondering why she had returned. Amanda walked straight to Mr. Benson and knelt before him. "I have been wicked," she admitted, her voice shaking. "I have hurt all of you, but I want to change. Please, give me a chance." The room fell silent. Then, after what felt like forever, Mr. Benson smiled. "The past cannot be undone, but the future is yours to shape," he said. "Rise, Amanda. Show us that your heart has truly changed." From that day on, Amanda was no longer the cool, heartless caregiver. She became gentle and kind, caring for the seniors as if they were her own family. She listened to their stories, held their hands when they were afraid, and made sure they were comfortable. The residents slowly forgave her, and though she never forgot the wrath of the bees, she was grateful, for in their painful sting, she had found a second chance. And so, Amanda's story became a lesson for all, a reminder that justice never sleeps, and no one escaped the consequences of their actions. This story teaches us that we should always treat others with kindness, for the way we treat people will always come back to us. It reminds us that karma is real, and no evil deed goes unpunished, just as no good deed goes unrewarded. Even the worst people can change if they truly want to, proving that redemption is always possible. It also highlights the importance of respecting the elderly, as they have lived long lives and deserve love and care. Lastly, it teaches us to pay attention to warnings, because sometimes life gives us signs before disaster strikes, and those who ignore them often regret it.